watching Israeli News Live. Just a quick take this morning of the broadcast here, doing a little screen capture. I'm examining several things that are happening right now. We're looking here at the New York Times. Pentagon is urging great caution on imminent strike against Syria. We're looking also at The Guardian. This is Jeremy Corbyn, who is accusing May of waiting for Trump's instruction. He is, of course, the leader of the Labour Party there in Britain, and he is definitely not in favor of doing these strikes over there. Also, U.S. President Trump is considering 8 possible targets in Syria. President Trump says in a decision coming fairly soon. I think they're beginning to try to scale back this so-called war they're wanting to do in Syria, but at the same time, the U.S. and their allies, France and Britain, really want to topple Bashar al-Assad. So they figure this is the only opportunity that they have to do that, and I think this is where we're actually headed to. Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to go back to that first article about Turkey in just a moment here, but interestingly enough, Maria Zakharova, who is the spokesperson for the Foreign Ministry's office there, she said, "We can resolve all issues by picking up the phone." Russia's foreign minister spokesperson on Syria standoff. This was over on RT's news reporting Maria's actual comments there. And she really brings out very good points here that this could be diffused. But the question is then asked to her about whether or not this could end up into a major ground confrontation. What type of scenario would that bring in the spilling of American and Russian blood? And she didn't rule it out. She says, "We're living in 2018. We have all sorts of communication, including Twitter, and we can resolve all questions like that just picking up the phone, just sending messages. And I think this is the case which should be resolved through the communication, but not through force," the Foreign Ministry spokesperson said. She reiterated that Russia will protect its people on the ground should missiles start flying, commenting on the earlier statement by Moscow's envoy to Lebanon, Alexander Zaspikin, who warned that the Russian military reserves the right to intercept incoming missiles and strike launch sites in case of an attack. Zakharova said the envoy's words should be understood in the sense that Russia will not abandon its people. So we're still getting some pretty strong verbiage out of Russia over what's going on inside of Syria. And at the same time, you know, I have to be quite honest, friends, when I look at this. One thing that really troubles me is when President Trump takes to Twitter. Especially, there was an article that came out in the U.S. that he's breaking all the international, you know, our constitutional ways of dealing. Actually, I hit the wrong one here. President Trump is who I want to go to. And going onto Twitter talking about his attack plans. I mean, that's just a bit disturbing, if you ask me, that the president would actually make those types of tweets to begin with. Now, I realize some people are saying that the president, when he made the tweets the other day, that some people are trying to suggest that his Twitter is hijacked by somebody in the deep state there, and that this is really not him doing that. But, you know, I don't know about that, friends. I really don't. This is very concerning to me, and I was trying to see if I could find that tweet real quick that he did. I don't know where it is right now. He does a lot of tweeting to begin with. Here it is right here. It's right there. I see it now. This tweet right here: Russia vows to shoot down any and all missiles fired at Syria. Get ready, Russia, because they will be coming. Nice and new and smart. You shouldn't partner with a gas-killing animal who kills his people and enjoys it. You know, I mean, think about, I mean, I just have to be frank about it. It's almost like a spoiled child that's got a hold of daddy's toys and is able to go out and blow up the entire world, you know, instead of being diplomatic. I don't know of another world leader that goes on Twitter and talks like this. Now, granted, we do see those in administration of Russia, whether it be Maria Zakharova, making comments on her Facebook page, etc. But you don't see, as far as I'm aware of, President Putin going on Twitter and talking about his war plans. In fact, he normally is very quiet, very reserved. His different diplomats may speak in the background, but until he comes out and says something, you don't see that. Anyway, let's turn a focus here. This is something I've really been watching closely, and this came out today on the website ukrinform.net. Turkey views annexation of Crimea as a humanitarian tragedy. The annexation of Ukraine and Crimea by Russia is unacceptable for Turkey. Special representatives of the President and Government of the Republic of Turkey, Interior Ministries of Turkey, Solomon Soylu, said this at the 11th Kiev Security Forum organized by Arseny Yatsenyuk, the Open Ukrainian Foundation, and Ukrinform correspondent reports. It's kind of funny. Yatsenyuk has just never seemed to leave the picture. By the way, he is the former Prime Minister of Ukraine after the Maidan coup that was backed by the CIA that toppled the government. Now, those of you that may remember, we reported on Israeli News Live where President Erdogan had met with Petro Poroshenko. And they were talking, they spoke openly. I need to bring this out in a special broadcast. We'll try to do it tonight here. But it was very disturbing when I saw they were literally speaking about bringing a war, Turkey willing to strike Russia at that time. Now, this is during the time where Turkey also shot down a Russian bomber, an Su-24, over Syria. So, again, as I've said many times in the past, the coup was staged, and they staged it intentionally with the purpose of being able to make Turkey look like Russia's ally, make it look like Turkey was in a desperate strait with NATO and he needed a partner. And I realize that the Russian government is desperate for financial means because of all the sanctions that have been placed on them all over the world. But Erdogan is really doing his part as the dirty man, which also, by the way, him getting on the edge of war with Greece could be a new pivotal front in a New World Order campaign there. So I really see Turkey and Russia may end up going to blows in the very near future. And that's not a good thing either. Turkey does have a very formidable military, especially in the region of Syria where Russia is outgunned to begin with. All it's going to take for this to spiral out of control is for Russia to retaliate because their troops get hit, and then you'll see the true face of Turkey. They will come to the aid of President Trump. And then we will know who they really are. I'm Steve Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Shalom in a world of Ein Shalom.